And welcome back to the Irish Goodbye. I'm Shane. He's Jason. We're not good at predicting what this league is going to do on any given week, so
Nope.
be prepared for just terrible analysis and moderately interesting factoids.
I mean, depending on which end of the scoring spectrum you are, some may be more interesting than others.
Well, or more or less. So let's get started right off. We'll go to our injury report, looking at what we thought was going to be the best game of the week. I had the Bare Naked Hades versus the Troll Tolls, and yeah, I was wrong. I'd argue that probably was the second worst game of the week. Just based off the Bare Naked Hades, no shade on Brian's team. They were perfectly fine. But yeah, it was not a good game. It was not interesting. It was just ugly in general.
Yeah, rough scoring. A trend that we will be checking with the resident co-commissioner and Statman about the scoring in the league. Some real low scoring games this year. This was another one of them. I mean, yeah. I also had picked that as the best game. I did for just pure reasons of looking at two teams kind of one was going to go in one direction and one was going to go in the other direction based on a winner or loss, and losing by that much and that low of a score, pretty tough for Bare Naked Hades to take, but you never know. But I know you had the angle. It was the I believe you anointed this the Battle of the Bapts.
I did, yep.
And I mean, it seems like it did not live up to expectations.
I'm going to disagree actually for a second. I'm just going to say it very much was at least Bapst like for when Brian and Ross were there, where it just severely disappointed you. Which I believe is what their team's nickname was, but I'm not sure. I'll have to do some fact checking on that one.
Team severely disappoints you.
Team severely disappoints you. So that brings us to Head for the Blue Tent, of which I am pleased to announce I predicted correctly. I am not as pleased to announce that my exact quote was, and I'm not going to say the team name that I said, but this team was going to drag this one down, and it was not the other team's fault. Well, Tank took me up on that and said, hey,
yes,
I can drag down a matchup better than the next guy. He dragged it down lower than I thought was possible. I was really hoping that there was a possibility that their two scores added together would have still lost games this week. That was not the case because scoring was down. But as Jason and I were talking ahead of time, if you doubled Klatanker's score for this week, I believe they would have been the 7th highest scoring team. So not even getting a point if we doubled their points.
Rough, very rough. Just it is just really astounding. Like the it lasted for 1 week. The Mad Dogs are the game of the week until they win Mantra, and it was a bad one. I mean, we did throw a lot of shade the way of the the double Denver running back room, which it appears they suffered some extreme jet lag on the way to I don't even know where they played, London, somewhere across the ocean, and yeah, I mean, injury. Ooh, it's rough.
Yeah, I think in all honesty, we've spent more time on their team than than necessary for that
exactly.
particular. We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
Real quickly again, but yeah, let's move right along to our training staff.
I'm just glad to know that I picked myself as the worst game of the week, and that was not the case. So that's a win for me, on the field and in this sense.
So that brings us into to training staff. We're looking at the heroes and the IR designees of the week, as we always do. We're going to start with the game at the top of my list, which is my game, which arguably I think we can say was the game of the week. It was tight. It came right down to the wire. Anyway, as we're looking at this game, I think the hero of this week, I think you could choose a number of players here, and he had some really, really big performers this week with Pickens, with Taylor, and I even thought about Dawson Knox for a little bit with the pickup and Kincaid going out, and that was like that was kind of the difference. But I really think Kendrick Bourne has to be the hero of this week. I mean, it was a big play by Ken. It worked out, and it you don't expect to see that, and that was the difference. At least with Dawson Knox, it was like he got a touchdown. Okay, he can do that. But Kendrick Bourne being the guy that was going to push Ken over the edge, I think definitely makes him the hero of the week.
142 yards on 5 catches is pretty remarkable. My pick was going to be, as I believe was appropriate, was going to be a person that I'd never heard of until I looked at the matchup. Tight end AJ Barton, who again never heard of this guy before. I mean, I'm sure Ken has known about him for probably since he was coming up through high school, maybe even like the Pop Warner days. He's really got his finger on the pulse of the tight end. But just again, tight ends that are overlooked by everyone else coming up, scoring points, and in this case, contributing to the outcome, of which I will not go into further depth about what outcome that was, but it did get him the win. On the other side of that coin, when we get into our IR designee, hard to choose one because it was a tight game. But I think I'm gonna go with Bill Krosky, which sounds like he should be playing for the Bears versus against the Bears. Big week the week before, and coming into playing the Bears, kind of hope he's gonna have a good game. That did not happen. Fumble lost. Okay rush yards, but only a catch, no scores, just kind of a game all around. In a tight game, too. So, sorry, Bill, but you're my IR designee of the week.
Yeah, mine as well. I mean, I don't think there's any question there. I mean, Travis Hunter in better days, I would like to not have him as my starting wide receiver, but it is what it is. Yeah. I mean, I looked at that matchup. I looked at what was happening in the Bills game, by about the third quarter, and thought, okay, like this is fine. This is gonna be good.
It's doable.
And it wasn't. So let's just move on. We'll move on. Bare Naked Hades versus the Troll Tolls. Again, I mean, I think that's the kind of in general issue of like a real hero of the week. You usually have like a number of different options for heroes of the week, but I think this one is more of like he's a hero in that he gave Brian at least 1 week of respite from having to belabor his second round pick, and that is Ladd McConkey. Had a great game. 100 yards, touchdown, 7 receptions. Just, it's a pitcher perfect wide receiver game. It's what you want to see every single week out of him. But yeah, so definitely a lad week.
Yep. I think that's pretty straightforward. That's what you want to see and what you need to see, honestly. Keep things up, especially when you look at, which I think is kind of a common theme here with some of the other performances on the team, both running backs, not great weeks.
All 4 running backs.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
Rashad
the ones
did
on
well,
the bench. Yeah. Well, Rashad did, yeah.
Well, actually, so just a quick before you give us any more analysis and go further, remember how this was the game of 8 running backs and how this was like the picture of the league?
Look at them all.
One of them gets double-digit points. One out of 8, which might be why.
I think there's a lesson to be learned here.
Well, no, I'd say go with wide receivers. Remember, Klatankris is the poster boy for that.
True, but injuries versus bad.
I'm just pointing it out. All I'm doing is
I will say
observing and reporting.
Berenice Hades took a page out of Klatankris' book and went with the all Seattle running back room. Did about as good as the all Denver running back room this week. So, what are you gonna do? I think that when we look at the who's the the IR Disney, couple handful of options when the game's not really close. It's hard to say. I think the simple pick probably for me is, I would say, all of Berenice Hayes running backs are going to get lumped in here. Nice. IR Disney, 4 players: Walker, Charbonnet, Henderson, Brown. All of them added up together to, let's see, 20, say maybe like 22 points.
Right.
McConkey alone scored more than that. Trey McBride scored almost as much. It's 4 players, but it's tough to win when you got 4 players on your roster scoring 3 under 5, and the other under 10, under 9. So that's my my group pick would be Berenice Hayes running back room.
I have a group pick for this one too, except I went slightly different than you, and I decided to choose all of the sub 5 crew that Ross decided to play this week. We had 4 guys on his team under 5 points, and so you just swap out Chase Brown's disappointing game for Emeka Buka's disappointing game.
Injured / disappointing. I'm not sure when he got hurt in that game.
I'm not sure either. Let's see.
What's it say? Hard to say. Secured 2 of 4 targets and he got hurt. So pretty early on.
Yeah.
Seems like, which is rough. There's a lot of something with the Buccaneers and the hamstrings. It's
I think it's something
like Evans. You got
hamstrings.
Well, yeah.
It's almost like human beings aren't designed to run this fast and hit this hard and change direction as quickly as they do.
All the body parts except for the brain, though. The brain is totally fine when it comes to this sort of
definitely okay
sort of impact and play. Yeah.
All right, let's move along. We're gonna go to Klatankris and Mad Dogs for the dumpster fire of the week. And I'm gonna be honest. I was looking for heroes on this team, and I really didn't want to pick a hero. Like that being said, I did, because it's our bit, and we've got to at least occasionally stick to the bit. And so I am going to say that, and I'm just going to chalk on it. Hollywood Brown, he had a great game. 2 touchdowns, pretty solid. So good for Josh that a quarter of his points, a little less than a quarter of his points came from that one guy, and that's not saying much. So,
man, yeah. I was going to say the hero of the week was us for having the strength to recap this game, but I look for bright spots that you hope will continue going forward. I mean, I'd probably give a joint Metcalf and Brown together, because I don't know if you're going to get anything like this from Brown going forward. But the Chiefs, you never know what's going on. Metcalf pretty much has to do this every game for the Mad Dogs for them to have any chance. It is rough. They do get paid some bright spots on the bench.
Like what?
Wait,
did his bench?
His bench would have
did it outscore him?
27, 49, 50. Yes. Yeah. I mean, if he had slotted in his flex spots, if he had Williams and if he had, let's see. Yeah. I mean, Dart, Vidal, Williams, Tucker. Yeah.
Well,
that's rough. But I mean, maybe some positives looking forward. I mean, we maligned Jameson Williams, and it appears that
no, don't take
what
big
happened
leaps right now. Don't do that.
Trying to think. No, I'm trying to think of. So he dropped him, but then he picked him back up.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have much to go with, so
interesting. I had to say he spent $0 on that. So
I will say congratulations to you on your Vidal over Haskins pick in our pickups of the week last week. You went with Vidal. I was not a fan, and that looked to be the smart pick. So, nice job.
I wish I had picked him up.
On the other side, the IR designee, I have everyone not named Jalen Hurts. Like literally look at that. It's so bad.
It's rough. If he had a weaker quarterback game, I think what the lowest score ever was something in the 40s, right? I think it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I don't think we were in that territory. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, just look at these. I know 3 injuries, very, relatively early on. 2 catches hurt. 1 catch hurt. But
I mean, like okay. So besides starting, and I don't know if Turpin actually played the game, but I'm going to pretend like he wasn't ever thinking about Turpin. He picked almost the most perfect, terrible team that he had. The only thing he could have done is swapped out RJ Harvey for Kareem Hunt to make it a worse week.
Yep, to make it worse. Yep, that's correct. That's pretty hard to do. So honestly,
incredible. Yeah.
Even in extreme defeat, there is, a little glimmer of pride there. Maybe you did something well, which was being bad. Yeah, you did it very well this week.
Historically,
maximum efficiency, pretty much. Yeah.
All right. That brings us to bottom of the barrel and Malcolm Death Squad. So I'll let you go with your hero of the week. I don't want to steal any of your thunder here. And
I mean,
who your guy is.
I think the easy choice would be Rico Dowdle, who I am hoping does not go by the wayside of when Hubbard comes back. I mean, you can't put this guy aside, but my actual, in terms of ranking and when they were drafted and whatnot, Brian Thomas Jr., 2nd round pick, finally scored his first touchdown. It was on a run play of some sort, but still. 8 catches most of the season, 90 yards most of the season, 10 targets, a touchdown. That's my guy. That's what I need. I mean, if I'm going to have any chance at pulling out of this, what I mired in here, which has started to happen this week, if I can continue, I mean, looking at my other performances, I need this from BTJ. So he's my guy this week.
I did go with Rico Dowdle, and here's the reason why: is I actually think that the Brian Thomas Jr. in the 2nd round, Anyone can do that. You picked up Rico. You put him in last week when there were not a ton of believers. You reap the benefits of that. And now you're rewarded because a lot of times when guys go off like that for like a 200-yard game and they're just the backup and you really haven't seen a lot out of them, it'd be easy to second guess yourself and say, nope, he's going on the bench. He's talked up a big game this week. He's gonna, lay an egg or whatever. Which I gotta be honest, I slightly thought he might.
Yep.
And he backed up everything he said. So, with another absolutely massive performance. So
I always believed in you, Rico. Except the time when I dropped you after drafting you, but I did pick you back up. So just let's let bygones be big bygones. Keep scoring 20, 30 points a game, please.
All right, over to the IR designee. It's Ken Wicks. You won't find his name on the roster because he's the manager of that team. What are we doing? Trevor Etienne? Like, are we like what exactly did you think was going to happen? Like, I don't know. I mean, like, I just don't
try something.
Well, but
not
I mean,
that.
You've got Jalen Warren on the bench, and I get it. He's playing Cleveland, sure, whatever. But like, he's still gonna get run. He's gonna get you
better than
yeah.
I
mean, that 8.3 is disappointing sitting on the bench. Like, but at the same time,
better than 2.
No. It's better than anything ETN has done this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like 5.24 was the ceiling that we were reaching for there.
He even scored -2 once.
He did. I mean, like, it's just I don't get it. I don't understand it. Ken Wicks is the IR designee this week.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna go with the Etienne was going to be my pick just because on the other side of that Rico Dowdle coin, in a game where Dowdle got so many touches, which I think was extraordinary. I think he easily the most touches of his career. You'd think that maybe Ken was hoping that like you were saying, Rico would not be able to back up his talk against the Cowboys and Etienne would get in there and get in the mix, and the Cowboys aren't very good on defense and so on and so forth, but it didn't work out. And I mean, I think that guy has got to go far away from the starting lineup.
Yeah. All right. So that brings us to the Superb Owls and the Draft Day champion 3-peat.
Still on top. Let's see. So, looking at I watched some of the game, the Atlanta Buffalo game, and I think Bijan, that's what you almost kind of expect from him. It's a crazy game, 170 rush yards, but I am going to give the title here to Cam Scatabo, who is super fun to watch. 3 touchdowns, which seems to be our metric for pretty much a lock for the. But just watching him play, like he may not survive to have a reasonably long career, but in a world where the white man is consistently being disenfranchised and downtrodden.
Oh my god.
Cam Scatabo. Disclaimer, this is satire. He really is standing out, and he stood up this week easily for me, getting the crown for the the standout player this week.
So I might not have looked closely enough because we have said if you get 3 touchdowns, you get the hero. I put both Cam and Bijan as my heroes. As
I feel like that still counts.
I mean, again, but like Cam probably should have got it. That's true. So, just an insane week out of those two. And I mean, there's well over half his points right there, between those two guys. And so when you get production like that, it makes winning a whole lot easier. So, and then on the other side, IR designee. Again, this one was actually fairly simple, and not just because he was the lowest scorer in his starting lineup, but just that you expect more. He's had a couple down weeks now in a row. No, he didn't. No, he had a good week. So he's coming off a couple of good weeks.
Debo.
But it's Debo.
Yeah.
Debo just didn't have the game you expected him to have. That's gonna sink you. Not that it would have mattered that much, because he would have had to have an elite game in order to make any difference here.
Yeah, and a number of issues. But yeah, I was gonna. We had another couple of injuries here, and I feel similarly. Debo, who I think is in a really good spot signing there. And again, another game where you think, they're against the Bears. Like, they're going to get him involved. They're going to do this, going to do that. I don't know what the deal was. If he was like nursing it, I think he's had some sort of injury, what the deal was, but it did not work out. And like you said, it wasn't the only factor. I also looked at Njoku as well, who had a really good week last week. And you think, Steelers haven't been very good against the tight end, but another, the knee injury that he had second quarter. I mean, he was on pace for probably a lot more action, and just did not work out for him. So it's kind of like IR designees. I say, Njoku, you kind of, that's not a big deal as much. Debo, you need a lot more than that. You need at least, like 14, 15 points a game if you're going to have him slotted in there. But he's no Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, we can say that much.
100%. All right, which brings us to our final game of the week. Points a latte half calf versus the fat guys in the end zone. And this one, I kind of decided to lump this player in with his general manager. And so the hero of the week, much to the joy of this general manager, was Devon Achane. As a loyal, diehard Miami fan, Ray had to have been thrilled to see the points that he put up, not the end score of the game, but the points that Achane put up. And he had an incredible week. And so he gets my hero for the week.
Best week of the year. And unlike the Dolphins, Ray is able to put together a winning team more often than not this season. So it's, Shane's been healthy. Kind of makes me feel like there's some sort of personal beef there between him and Ollie Gordon, who's just looking for touches. But I'm sure Ray will take it. I was gonna go. So looking at the scores, I mean, Shane is, right up there. Maybe it was a little closer. But I was gonna go with JSN there for the Seahawks. His best game of the season. He has been his worst week was 13 points, like 13 targets, 8 catches, which matches the season high for targets, a ton of yards, which was his season high for yards, touchdown. Like, I know it's the Jaguars and all, but they only scored 20 points, and he did all this in that. So he's my guy here. I mean, it's nice to have a player. I mean, Ray has what, 1, 2, 3 guys that you can just say, unless you're on a bye, I don't need to worry about these guys. And that is nice because I would say the majority of the teams in the league do not have this, especially after this past week. So JSN at the top, but it's a good team.
Yeah,
it's a good team.
Over on the other side, I have dual IR designees. One of them is going to surprise you. It's me. Because I thought that Haskins was going to be the better pickup of the week.
Ooh.
And then Chuck listened to me and put Haskins in, and Haskins earned him an IR designee of the week there. So
sorry, Chuck. Yeah. Chuck has been having a rough time with the backup. Who's going to be the backup running back? Pick one or the other, slot them in your lineup situation. This is 2 weeks in a row that he's been on the bad side of that.
I can't do this anymore, man. My head's about to explode. My whole life sucks. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. My dad just died. We just killed Bambi. I'm out here getting my ass kicked, and every time I drive down the road, I want to jerk the wheel into a goddamn bridge embankment.
I mean, that's one where it's kind of like a toss-up. I mean, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, you know, he lost by what, like 24 points. That's a lot, but you know, it's not completely out of reach if you have a big game from one of your big players, which, you know, to date, maybe not quite that much, but Sutton. I know it's the Jets and whatever, you know, Gardner and so on and so forth. But the whole Broncos team, they won that game somehow, but they slept through the game, it seemed like, more often than not. And I think if Sutton had been able to do Sutton things, then at least it would have given Chuck a shot. But instead, it left Chuck under 100 points yet again for this week.
Is that all but 1 week that he's been under 100 points?
I believe that is the case. I think it was, let's see. What was the other?
He's under 100.
What was the last? Yep, just under 95, 98, 140 in week 4, which is massive. 91, 69.
Yeah.
86. Well, yeah, we don't need to talk about that one. Week 1. You probably don't remember that one.
Awful. Yeah.
So
all but the
one huge week. Yeah.
Blows up.
Where everyone went off. Yeah, that's rough, you know. But I think, you know, we're starting to get to the time of year where decisions needing to be made about the whole new pick trades and so on and so forth and all that stuff that honestly I'm surprised that none of that's been whirling around as of yet. But something's got to give for that kind of lead zone. And you know, maybe his luck will look up, hopefully not this next week, but maybe the week after that.
All right, so that brings us on to the next week. And so first we always look at full health. What's the matchup of the week going to be? And Jason, I don't know how much you've looked at next week's matchups. I am unimpressed right now. I decided to kind of stick with an old favorite, and I'm happy to say that we're looking towards week 7, and this is the first time I'm going to pick my own matchup as the matchup of the week. Mm-hmm. So me versus Superb Owls. I think that the Cardinals are coming on. They're starting to show a little bit of fight, a little bit of life. I'm hoping that they continue that, and luckily Josh has got a couple of key players who are out on bye this week, and so maybe I can sneak out a win versus the number 1 team.
Yeah, I mean that is. I was looking at that one. I think that is a possibility. I think that one is. I think it's the most interesting game of the week, which I think tips it over into best game of the week for me as well. I was also considering a potential Clintankerous bounce back.
I looked at that one too. Yeah,
based on injuries. I don't know.
Yeah,
you don't really know what you're going to get. So I think you versus Josh be a good one. I mean, he seemed like his team was off to kind of a slow start this past week, and then he obviously beat John on Monday night, but he stacked it up when he needed to. Must have been given his somehow got the the contact information of his players, was giving him pep talks throughout the day. So I would agree. Cardinals, Super Bowls. The worst game.
Headed for the blue tent.
Headed for the blue tent. I think there are some teams that don't have the rosters fully set up yet. So that is kind of throwing things into a bit of a question mark, but I am going to go with the Waving Cats versus Bare Naked Hades. Even if you slot in a quarterback there, the projections are pretty low. I gave some consideration to Draft Day versus Mad Dogs, but I feel like we learned that if you pick Mad Dogs in any way, crazy things happen, either for worst or good games. So to avoid tipping the scales on that one, I'm going to go with Ken versus Ross.
Well, Jason, I know at the beginning you said picking the Mad Dogs as the worst game of the week only lasted a week.
Well, nope. I mean, at least what you had said, until they win, it will be that
right. Game. And my argument is they did not win. Clintankerous lost. We all lost having to watch that game and having that be part of our league's history now. There were no winners in that game, and so Mad Dogs versus Draft Day champions, easy pick for kind of two struggling franchises right now. But again, this is less shade on Pat and his Draft Day champion 3P, and more on the Mad Dogs. For now, I had this pulled up. So this is our 10th and 12th place teams based off of our standings, the actual standings. So it's a pretty bad game. It's a pretty bad game here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I will say late breaking news. Mad Dogs have made a quarterback decision, and they have dropped Tua, and they will be going with Jackson Dart this week. So, I mean, let's see if it works out.
Probably smart.
I mean, I think it's smart comparing the two of them. Let's see how Dart does coming off his best game of the week against Denver in Denver, which could be a challenge. But who knows?
He just runs so much, though, that the floor of him it's fine.
Higher than Tua, who used to run until he, died multiple times on the field.
Right.
So,
All right, that brings us up to the injury update. This is where we look at last week's pickups of the week if we want to, and then look forward to see who might be a good pickup for the coming week. For me, easy pickup of the week last week, and it feels weird that we keep saying that this team is getting the pickup of the week, and it probably is just based purely on volume, that they have to keep picking up players because they have a terrible team, so keep getting to drop people too. But that's Kamani Vidal by the Mad Dogs. Just a huge pickup. Didn't make it into his lineup this week. Who knows for the coming week? But But if he does, I expect to see him score 3.4 points for the week.
Yeah. I definitely don't remember who I picked. So I do remember picking Vidal. In that whole mess of everyone loves a potential running back by committee situation. I think, looking at some obvious. I guess it was 2 weeks ago, but I'm gonna still pat myself on the back for starting.
Rico,
not that I had anyone else start, but for starting Rico. Trying to look at like some other pickups. I think late pickup that again, sorry to the Cardinals. The Bills tight end for Bills tight end swap instead of Ken putting in. It would have been the same results, I guess, but instead of Okonkwo, I don't know. He could have picked up a different tight end, and it did not work out. It's such a small margin there. But I can't remember the other people that I picked aside from Haskins and the Haskins Vidal conversation. So,
I will say just an interesting tidbit. AJ Barner started in the flex position, and then Ken was scrambling to fill a tight end position when Dalton Kincaid went out. This is the reason why you listen to Ross.
Ross's school of roster building.
Yep. Make sure that you check your roster. Make sure you have it built correctly. Otherwise, you might find yourself in a position like Ken did, where he was scrambling and made the right choice and picked in one still. So,
yep.
I don't know what the lesson is here, to be honest with you.
The lesson I think is that Ken doesn't listen and he keeps winning. So I think the lesson will not be learned.
It's frustrating. What about picks for this week? What do you got?
Yeah. So looking through, I was looking at sort of like how this week's projected points versus guys that have scored well over the season, and it's easy to kind of like you look at who's done well this over the season, and then are they going to do well this week? And I think based on last week's performance, but also just generally his floor being pretty high, I'm kind of surprised that he was not picked up by Ken.
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
Who, kind of a no-brainer. Like anyone, I'm sure there'll be multiple people trying to claim him because he's just the Eagles are playing a weird football all of a sudden, and he's getting his targets are 7 out a week or no catches, 2, 4, 9, 11. Like they're whatever they're doing, they're not throwing the ball deep and not with a lot of accuracy. This is a guy that he has a touchdown in 4 straight games for a tight end. With scoring the way it is, I don't know how this guy is on the waiver wire right now.
Yeah, and he's obviously involved too. So I think even if you wipe the touchdowns away, he can still be a productive, fantasy tight end. Yeah. Get you the few points. So I agree with you. I would totally expect to see the Chinese waving cats adding Dallas Goedert this week. And putting in, I'm guessing it's gonna be somewhere around a $75 to $80 bid on him by Ken. So, just based off of his valuation of the position,
it seems right. He unfortunately only has 27 waiver bucks left. So, okay. I think he may spend all 27.
It might be. For me, I looked and just, a guy who kind of, I feel like regularly pops off, and I'm not saying he's going to keep doing it or anything like that, but he's like a decent bet to get you a few catches. He might go in for a touchdown. If guys go out, he's a guy that has kind of like shown up when he needs to. Again, not a sure player by any stretch of the imagination, but somebody that you could at least kind of take a lottery ticket on and put in that last flex spot. And that's Tayshaun Boutte. The Patriots offense is looking better. Drake May is clearly not afraid to throw the ball, and Boutte just kind of seems to be like the third, fourth option on that team a lot of the time. And so I think you could do worse than Tayshaun Boutte.
Yeah, and he seems to be, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've seen him described as like more of like a deep threat kind of guy. I don't know anything about Patriots receivers, but I think, what was it last week? I think May had 3 passes over 20 yards, and all 3 went for touchdowns. So if that is a part of the game that's opening up, he's playing pretty well. He runs, so he kind of has to keep defenses honest. Like, it's gonna open things up. You could do worse than Kayshawn. I had him on looking at my list as well. It's kind of rough out. It's very difficult this year. I mean, maybe we say this every year. Difficult to predict what you're going to get from week to week. I was just looking at, just for the fun of it, looking at Chinese Waving Cats' waiver dollars. And it appears that they have spent a solid 30. They spent $32 total this year on tight ends.
That tracks.
So, over a third of the total. Just and I'm if we are right about this week, that will go up to potentially over half of their total dollars will have been spent on tight ends, which is very on brand. And I commend Ken for not only sticking to the bit but also finding success with it.
Do you have anyone else that you thinking about picking up?
So I was kind of looking for, there's some guys that I had drafted and I dropped them a while ago, and I kind of look back at, are these guys are they still out there? Are they doing okay? Maybe I'll pick them back up. I saw Brian picked up Mooney, who I had drafted, and he immediately did not play, and that's kind of been the issue, which is why I dropped him. So I think, looking at with like some buys coming up, if you look at quarterback, which I think generally we don't really, since maybe the first couple weeks, we haven't really looked at quarterback because ideally people have their guy by now, except for, a couple teams here and there. I think looking at some teams that have already had their bye and going forward, they were picking up the pace. I'm going to put Stroud on that list, who I think really was underwhelming beginning of the season, and as were the Texans, but they seem to have figured out the scoring. And last year they were firing on all cylinders until some late season injuries. So I'm going to put for someone looking for a quarterback, and who's already had his bye as well. So if he does well, you hopefully can just slot him in and leave him there. Stroud is my other pick this week.
I think my final pick for this week is going to be it's definitely not a guy that you're going to throw right in there, but given the injury, and I know it's not supposed to be a long-term injury, but the injury to Puka, I think Jordan Whittington is an interesting pickup. I don't think I'd start him this week, although this might be the only week he has any value. He's probably going to go to the number 3, number 4 receiving option for Matthew Stafford, but you could do worse than that. And again, the Rams find these guys, and this guy's pretty touted inside the Rams organization. A week of practice where he's, playing the Puka role out there. Yep. It could be interesting. He could be something. And so I think that he might be kind of a worthy stash to see if he he turns into anything.
Mm-hmm. He got the most snaps out of all the wide receivers. And he's playing the Jaguars, who are not great. I think Atwell might be out or
he's hurt,
hampered as well. So I think this seems good. I would agree. The only downside I think is what's Puka's injury length, and also they have a bye the week after next, so that's another week of healing for.
And at least the reports
Puka,
out of the Rams are Puka's injury. He avoided a long-term injury, but those ankle injuries can be
they slow you down.
Yeah,
or the re-injury risk. But I will say, Jordan Wayton, looking at his picture, he just looks happy to be here.
And he's another one of those. He's another one of those Rams tight ends that also blocks, and that's the reason why he's out there all the time. Because he's going to be out there on running plays, he'll be out there on passing plays. So it just increases the probability that he's going to soak up the target.
Yep. No, I see no problem with that one, for sure.
All right. Well, I think that does it. This is a near record-breaking week, coming in at a cool just over 51 minutes now. So
less than an hour.
Pretty solid. We're getting the format. We're getting it tight here. I think we might need to probably open up some segments soon about trades and trade offers, because I'm guessing those are going to start to come fast and furious. But you never know. So. I will say I was just looking at the standings, Jason, not to extend this too much longer, but can we talk about how right now the number one team is Josh Curtis, and the second place team right now is Ken Letary?
Yep.
And this is the world we're living in. These are two teams that have been routinely in the bottom, and they're seeing their day in the sun. So good for those guys. I mean,
true.
I don't want to see it continue. I'd like to have the world make sense.
Ideally, yeah. I mean, it's true. I mean, you got some. Josh has a little bit of separation at the top, and then it's a real slog. 13 total points, 12, 11. Like, it is jammed up at the top there. This last week with some of those losses, across the board. But things are tight in that, beyond Josh, I guess.
In the top 6 teams, though, things are tight.
Top 6,
because then the bottom 6, we drop off and fall off a cliff there. I mean, you and I are multiple weeks away from hanging out in the top 6 if we want to get there. So,
or the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So it is. Yeah, some things are starting to. I mean, a little bit of clarity on maybe the extreme top and the extreme bottom, but as we know, you have you have some teams in there with more top 6 finishes than wins than regular standard wins. I think there's only 2 teams. I think it's myself and the Troll Tools that have more top 6s than regular wins. Everyone else is either evenly split or more regular wins than top 6s, which usually means you had a big week or squeaked one out. But yeah, I guess we will see how this plays out, and as we definitely provide useful analysis that definitely will be accurate of trades and other potential goings on as we approach the midpoint of the season.
This is the gold standard here.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm Shane. He's Jason. This has been another episode of Bad Fantasy. Irish goodbye. We'll see you guys.
Accurate fantasy advice. Bye.